Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now, and it is time for the query segment. For all those of you that are familiar with this, you know what to do. For those of you that are joining for the first time, send us your queries on any one of our social media platforms or indeed on the WhatsApp number that's flashing on your screen. Do remember to tell us your name as well as the stock that you'd like to know about. We take one stock per individual wherever possible, and tell us the time frame that you'd like to hold the stock for, if it's a short-term or a long-term query. The first question is coming in from Poonam, and she's asking about Havells. She's got a long-term view on this counter, and she bought at levels of 1239. Rajesh, should she hold on to this because she's losing ground? Should she hold on or should she exit?
Alex, I think one should hold on to the stock. FMEG, fast-moving electric good. The sector is doing very well. We have seen the numbers in the last quarter or so. And with the kind of opening up, the kind of real estate demand we are witnessing, we think both these companies, Havells and Polycab, both are going to do well. One should have a long-term horizon and keep holding to the stock.
Okay, this one is from Shanmuga Sundaram. He has 20 shares of HUL purchased at a level of 2100 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he can start to accumulate now for the next 1 year. What's your take on this one, Kunal?
So I think yes, HUL could be a good accumulator at current levels. The stock is going through some short-term corrections, FII selling, etc. on the very short term. So the impact on the short term could probably be a slight bit more downside for the stock. But then if you have a longer term time horizon, then these are good valuations, good prices where you can look to accumulate the stock.
Okay. Interestingly, we've got N. Chandrasekaran from Chennai who's also asking about HUL, and he's asking about fundamentals. These are counters, Rajesh, that are a little bit down in the dumps, and one would think that this is on account of the potential for margin squeezing, the inability to pass on as quickly as input prices are going up. He's got HUL 100 shares at levels of 2590 average price. Should he hold on? Should he average at this juncture?
Advisable, because we think there are some more pressures in the times to come. But for longer term horizon, stocks like Britannia, HUL, Nestle, they are very good long term picks because the companies are doing well. They have good brand portfolio. Yes, there are cost inflationary pressures in the near term, but we have seen companies increasing prices and passing on the input cost to consumers. Recently, again, they have announced they have more price hikes. So I think it's just a matter of time when we are seeing this kind of pressure. But what a longer term portfolio, these kind of stocks are very good picks.
All right, this one is coming from Ravi Chandran Iyer. He's saying that he's holding Petronet LNG at a price of around 210 rupees per share. The time horizon is about 12 to 15 months. What should I do now? What's your take on this one? What should he do, Kunal? Petronet LNG, he's bought it at around 210 rupees per share.
I would advise to exit the stock. As of now, you get some minor rally in between. So, the stock yesterday fell sharply. But prior to that, it came back towards 210, 220 levels. Now that should be very close to your acquisition price or cost price for the stock. So I would suggest just wait for maybe a short term kind of time frame. But if the stock comes back towards 210, 220 levels, that could be a good level where you look to exit the stock. I believe it's far more important to try and concentrate on the mainstream large cap names at current juncture because of the way the setup of the overall market is, rather than looking at these tier 2 mid cap names. From large cap names, I think from the fresh set of stocks, which I would like to recommend, you can look at maybe a Reliance Industries at current levels. You can look at even a Bajaj Auto, which is looking extremely strong in terms of price performance from a relative impact on the auto sector. SBI, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, these are the few names which you can look at. So I would suggest a switch from Petronet LNG, but if the stock gets into a rally phase, 210 to 20 levels could be a good zone where you can look to exit.
Okay, gentlemen, it seems like most of our viewers and half again as many have joined in right now and have asked questions, so I request you to keep your answers a little shorter. We've got a question coming from Mr. Mukesh Narayan from Gurgaon. He's asking about Zomato. Rajesh, this one's for you. He's bought at levels of 98, as many as 3,000 shares. The company is in focus on account of the faster delivery time that they're promising. Would you suggest a hold at this juncture?
See, one can continue hold to the stock, but I would say try to exit on any kind of spikes because the numbers are pretty bad. They have been reporting losses, and we have seen the kind of selling pressure coming into on the almost every online player. So it's better to exit at higher levels.
From Sumit, and he's saying that he's holding Colgate at a price of around 1,550 rupees per share. He wants to know what should he do with his holding currently. His time horizon is about 9 to 12 months. Kunal, Colgate?
I would suggest to hold, and specifically given that kind of a time frame, you can look out for 1600 as a nominal target for the stock.
Okay, Bajaj Electricals is the name of the counter. Rajesh, we've got Aarti who's bought at levels of 1,150, losing a little ground. She's wondering whether to sell and buy something like a Piramal Enterprises for the long term.
See, Primal Enterprises can be a good buy, but selling Bajaj Electricals at this point of time is not advisable because the company has been doing well. The brands are good, and the company is trying aggressively to expand its brand portfolio. We have a buy call on this, and we think in the next 12 to 18 months, 20 to 25% upside from the current market price is quite possible. So instead of selling Bajaj Electricals, you can think of adding Piramal Enterprise if you have extra funds.
Right. Amy wants to know about what about big banks? Does it make sense to invest in them currently, given that no doubt we've seen the leadership churn coming from the financials, from the consumption space. Now it is slowly into the commodities and IT services-led companies. Rajesh, what's your take? Do you think now is the time to invest in big banks? Do you think that it makes sense to stay put in this one and the leadership will be continued by the banks going ahead?
Shrill, I couldn't get your question because the sound quality was very bad. So can you please repeat it?
I will repeat it for you. So Amy wants to know, does it make sense to invest in big banks right now? Do you think that the leadership once again will be with the banks going ahead? No doubt in the last 2 years, we've seen that leadership change right from financials and consumption names. You saw the leadership taken over by the IT sector companies or the commodities companies.
See, banking can be a good pick, no doubt, because they are beaten down a lot, and the larger names like SBI, SDFC, ICICI, they are going to be a good play. But I don't think the times of IT or metals are over. So you can spread your portfolio into all these sectors in a proportionate way.
RK Ahuja is asking about ACEL, which is currently trading at 786. It's up as much as 0.2% in trade today. Kunal, what's the view on the charts? Would you suggest a fresh entry for the long term?
Well, I think from a short term, yes, you can look to enter the stock. 786 is a good level. I think we discussed the stock last week or so when it was just around that 750, 770 mark for itself. So it looks very attractive. The setup is quite good for the stock. Mean reversion is also being completed where the stock has tested its 200 moving average. So from a short to medium term, 3 to 6 months, you can look to buy.
All right. The next one that I have is from Suvendu, and what he's asking about is Godrej Consumers. He's already holding some shares at the price of 750 rupees per share, and he wants to know what's the view for the next 1 year with regards to this particular counter. What's your take, Kunal? GCPL, how does this one look to you?
See, I think from a very, very short term view, like for the next couple of weeks or for the next 1 month, I believe that the stock should be under more selling pressure because of the way the FI selling has been dominated from the FMCG pack. But then I believe that if you happen to get probably Godrej Consumers, say somewhere closer to 650 or 630 levels, that could be a very good level where you can look to buy if your time horizon is 12 months plus.
We've got Puneet who's asking about Odisha Minerals Development. He's bought at elevated levels, he's bought at elevated levels, Rajesh. He's asking if we should hold on if there is a possibility of divestment in the medium term.
See, divestment, they are trying to do of their holding company, that is EINL. But the thing is, the mines are almost the lease license of the mines are over, and they are trying to get it renewed. There are a lot of legal issues in that, but no doubt the company is good. In the past, it has performed very well. So I think one should carry on with the stock. Better bet would be NMDC in this space.
All right, the next one is from Sagar. He wants a fundamental view on defense stocks like BL, MTAR, Nelco, Data Pattern. Latent view, Rajesh, he wants to know what's your opinion on these particular counters in the view of what is happening in Ukraine. Will indigenous production increase? Are we at the nascent stage with regards to defense sector right here. Localization, that is what Sagar wants to know. What's your take on these counters, defense stocks? We know that the government is looking to push for indigenous defense equipments. What's your take on the space?
Yes, with the push of government for the indigenous space, I think the scope is very high for companies like BEML, Bharat Dynamics, or Hindustan Aeronautics. But one should not forget that run up quite a lot in the recent past. Valuations are on a stretched levels, but still going forward, I think somebody has got a longer term horizon. By longer term horizon, I mean 2 to 3 years down the line. One can accumulate at dips, not buying at these current levels is recommended, but on a dips, yes, one can accumulate in small amounts.
Krishna is writing in from Bengaluru. He's asking about Laurus Labs. He's got 150 shares, which he bought, Kunal, at levels of 360. The stock is currently close to 600. Should he hold on or should he book his profits?
Hold on. The stock is just about nudging towards a fresh breakout on the very short-term charts. That breakout could probably lead the stock back towards 700, 750. So if you bought at lower levels, I would suggest to hold.
Okay, this one is from Yogin, and Yogin is saying that he has Adani Port. He's holding some of these particular counters in his portfolio. Wants to know what should he do with it. What's your take on this one, Rajesh? Do you track Adani Port?
See, Adani Port has got good logistic play, but the thing is the valuations are stretched. No doubt it's a good company for logistic players, but at this point of time, since the valuation is stretched, I would say booking of profits and switching to some other stocks.
Coming back to you, Rajesh, on Godavari Power and Ispat, we've got a viewer who's bought at levels of 380, which is not too far away from the current price. Should he hold on? He's not got a very long time horizon.
See, if it's a short-term horizon, one can keep a stop loss and carry on with the stock. But for a longer-term horizon, we are very bullish on this stock. The company has been doing well quarter on quarter. The numbers have been good. They are trying to buy out some of their subsidiary companies, consolidating their operations. The numbers will be pretty good. Valuations are extremely cheap. For a longer-term horizon, it's a buy from our side.
Okay, Suvendu wants to know whether he should buy HDFC Life at current levels. What's your take, Kunal?
Well, yeah, I think attractive levels. The stock has come back towards a multi-month, multi-week low for itself, just around that 520 odd mark. I believe it's a good level where you can look to accumulate.
Okay, Sabha is asking for the next support level that you're seeing for the Bank Nifty, Kunal. For the Bank Nifty, what levels would you look for?
See, I think having a 5-day trailing support would be a good support for the banking index. Now that support comes very close to 34,800, 35,000 for the Bank Nifty, which means another 600 to 700 points on the downside. And looking at the structure of the banking index, it's possible that the banking index can probably try and test that 35,000 mark before it gets into a credible bounce. So if you're looking for the next leg of important support on the short-term charts, then I believe 34,800 approximately could be a good support level.
From Vilas, he's saying that he has 1,000 shares of GMDC, which is purchased at the price of around 150 rupees per share. He wants to know, can we expect an upside from the present level? What's your take, Kunal?
Well, I think it's a bit more stretched in terms of the returns for the stock. I believe it's more prudent to try and book maybe some profits over here and trade your stop losses to cost price, because there is higher possibility that the stock may get into a correction first before it starts to rally up again. So buy on dips would be suggestible rather than buying at such high levels. I would suggest that you should look to trail your stop losses, book partial profits, and look to buy the stock back again if it comes closer to 120, 125.
Rajesh, Sushil wants to know about Info Edge. He's got a long-term view. Should he enter the stock at the current level?
No, I think the valuations are stretched even after the kind of correction it has witnessed. So one should wait for a new entry.
Right. This one that I have is from Carol, and this one is for you, Kunal. Sun Pharma holding some shares at the price of 770 rupees per share. What is the short-term target price for Sun Pharma?
Well, I believe Sun Pharma has given some big breakout on the long-term charts. So my suggestion would be to tweak your time frame. Don't look at it more as a short-term play. I believe the stock has potential to come back to even levels of 1400 to 1500 over the next 1 to 2 years, given the structure of the chart patterns which it has shown in the last few months. So I would suggest a definite hold on Sun Pharma.
Okay, we've got a question from Neha from Kolkata. She's asking about UPL and she's bought at levels of 778. She's looking for a short-term perspective on this. This one's for you, Kunal. What would you say on the charts?
See, I think the stock has now some good resistances at the 785 to 800 mark. This has been a huge zone of resistance where the stock has consistently tried to try and penetrate those levels, but it's failed and it's led to the stock getting into supply zones. So it's at a critical juncture. I would suggest that have a trailing stop loss. A 200 DMA trailing stop loss could be a good trailing stop loss for the stock, and wait out for the stock to break past about the 785 to 800 hurdle. If that happens, you can look at a short-term target of 850 also on a stock like UPL.
All right, this one is from Yogin. He's saying that he has 50 shares of Tata Power. He's bought it at around 200 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should continue to hold on to it. What's your take on this one, Kunal?
Well, I would suggest a yes on Tata Power. You can look to hold, provided your time horizon is at least a couple of years.
Kunal, Ashok Leyland is the name of the counter. Badri Narayan is asking about the stock. He's not given us his buy price. Incidentally, guys, please post your buy price if you're asking about stocks that you hold. 60 shares is what he has. He's asking for a target for the near to medium term.
So I'm assuming that he's bought very, very recently. And if that's the case, then I would believe keep a stop loss of closer to 104 on Ashok Leyland. And on the upside, you can look out for targets of 120, 125.
Right. This one I've got from Amy, and Amy is saying that she has IDFC First Bank in a portfolio and it has already eroded 60% of her profits. She wants to know whether she should sell or add more. What's your take, Kunal?
I would suggest to average IDFC First Bank at current levels. I believe that the stock looks very attractive on the longer term charts, even though it's getting into a wobbly correction. Have been bullish on private sector banks. So I believe IDFC First Bank or maybe a Federal Bank at current levels could be good bets.
Time to hit the rapid fire segment, and gentlemen, you need to be even faster than you have been already. Kunal, I'll come to you first. Consumption theme, would you give any recommendations for this year?
I would suggest HCL and Godrej Consumer. If these stocks correct by another 5.
Okay, this one is coming in from, I'm sorry, I just lost that particular chat. Okay, this one is from Sudhin Kumar. Has ACC purchase price is about 2,300 rupees per share. He has about 200 shares. What should he do? Hold or exit, Rajesh?
I think he's on mute. Rajesh, you're on mute, I think. Okay, we seem to have lost Rajesh. Reliance Industries is the name of the counter. Would you suggest a fresh entry, Kunal? I've missed out who has asked this question, but would you suggest a fresh entry?
Well, yes, I would suggest a fresh entry, and possibly if the stock breaks 25.50, you can need to add even more.
Okay, I'm not sure if we have Rajesh back. But Rajesh, if you're back, then would you want to take the ACC question once again? 2,300 is the buy price, 200 shares. What should he do? Hold or exit?
Hold. But the cement sector is showing a lot of potential. One should continue to hold.
Kunal, Bajaj Consumer bought at levels of 250 is what is being said. What would you suggest?
I'll suggest an exit.
Okay, this one is coming in from Alvin from Mumbai. He's saying he's holding ITC since the price of 165 rupees per share. Is there any expectation of corporate action? He's a long-term holder. Can FMCG sector benefit as a whole? What's your take on this one? ITC, continue to hold, Rajesh?
Yes, of course, we have a buy call on this from a very long period of time, and we still feel that it's highly undervalued. One should definitely hold. If funds allow, one can add.
Kunal, JSW Steel or Tata Steel? Rajeshwari wants to know whether one of them can be bought for the short term.
Difficult to pick between diamonds and diamonds. And then if I have to pick and choose, then I'll probably go for Tata.
Right. This one is on Brightcom Group share. Ravi Shankar is holding some shares at the price of 2,025 rupees per share. What should he do? Do you track this one, Rajesh? Brightcom?
Exit at our levels because the numbers have been not supporting the kind of valuation it has. So I would say exit.